now that we've taken a look at our high plank, we're going to look at shifting that shape into a low plank or a chaturanga. So we'll look at what it looks like in the full version, and then we'll break it down as to how to modify it for more beginner and intermediate students. So just taking a look at that full version first, finding our plank, stepping the feet back. As we move into a full version, your high plank, you can keep your feet hip distance or big toes together. If you're transitioning into upward dog, feet hip distance will aid that transition a little bit easier. But we work with that shift of weight that we did before, just shifting a little bit heels to hands. And when our shoulders come over the wrist line, so my shoulders are over my fingernails, then I lower. So I wrap and I squeeze and I lower, try to lower halfway in that straight line. I can transition upward dog, or I could transition all the way down onto my belly. So from my chaturanga, all the way down to the belly. So two options, whether you're in full or half. Okay? So things to think about as we practice a few versions and how to find the alignment of the upper arms is what we did before in our tabletop preparation for downward dog. We took that movement in of the elbows, that little wrap and squeeze for the sides of the rib cage, the serratus anterior, and also for the pecs to get the squeezing in of your chest to get that sensation. So a couple of things you can do. Block, we'll look at one block first. So we'll do this in a half chaturanga so that we don't fatigue our arms too much, and also to look at how we can use this with beginners. So just to get the sensation of how low do we actually come in our chaturanga, the best is to start with the block at the highest level. So for a beginner, they don't need to come all the way to this right angle. Okay, what we're aiming for is eventually to have this 90-degree angle and to have the elbow over the wrist. Okay, it can be a little bit slightly back, but more or less we're aiming that in. So there's a difference. Some people ask always, we're used to doing push-ups this way. This is not an incorrect way to do a push-up. You're just working different muscles in your body. So if you're thinking about push-ups that you did in gym, in physical education class, these work more the pecs, still working a bit your triceps and your biceps, but the emphasis is a bit more on the chest. And it actually makes your triceps and the back of the arm muscle less efficient. So our arms are not necessarily in the same plane as the line of the muscle. So the triceps muscle runs north and south, up and down. So as soon as I take it out of its natural plane, it becomes less efficient, less powerful to create that straight arm shape. So this movement, more for the chest. If I keep the elbows in, you're going to work more the biceps and the triceps, and you're trying to balance a bit more what the chest is doing with the backs of your shoulders, okay? The other thing in yoga is that we have to remember we're aiming to transition into upward facing dog eventually. So we can't transition to upward facing dog if our hands are out here. Okay, then my upward dog is really wide and I don't have the support in the hands aligned with my joints. So if people ask you, if your students ask you, why can't I do my push-up this way? You can do push-ups this way, but you can't really do a half vinyasa this way. Okay, so we're looking at activating more bicep tricep line, because any of our arm balances that we're doing, any inversions that we're doing, headstand, we're keeping the line in. So this is more stable for the deeper muscles in the shoulder, for the rotator cuff, which we'll talk about later in anatomy. But any movement where we're in headstand, pincha, and arm balance, the arms are not wide and we're trying to balance on our arms this way. We're trying to balance with our arms in line with the shoulders. So we want to set up that foundation from the beginning with how we're doing our chaturanga, how we're doing our low plank yoga push-up position. So we can take a block, put it on the highest setting first just to get used to what's happening in your chest. As I become more comfortable, then I can aim to have it maybe on the medium setting, but it really does depend on your arm proportion. rather this way. So this, for me, this would work, but if you have maybe a longer upper arm bone, the higher setting might be the best. So you can see and explore for yourself. So highest setting first. Going to aim that about right between the shoulders at the level of your sternum, at the level of your breastbone. So it will be take a little bit of time to kind of find that place. Maybe the back of the block in line with your thumbs. That way, as you shift forward, if I'm coming into a half plank, not a tabletop, I can pick up my knees if I want more weight into my arms. And then I'm going to make sure my shoulders are forward over the fingernails, shifting forward. And then I just lower for this set. I'm going to lower and rest on my block, making sure my microphone is still in. So this gives me an opportunity to notice what's happening here. I can pull in through my belly. I can look at my arms and I can see if my elbows are popping out or squeezing in. And I can see more or less where my right angle is in the arms. Okay, so this is a test. And then I can lift and hover. You'll notice my arms won't quite be at right angles here. But if I wanted to create right angles, that's when I can bring my block a little bit lower. Okay, so same movement, same idea. This is going to be, when I lower all the way down, that's probably going to be a little bit too low, but just to get the sensation. So I can lower down. So here I notice I'm a little bit lower than my shoulder, and that's fine for the moment, but as I push back up, I engage the belly, I push and I hover. So that makes me really, really active. And then I press back to straight arms. Okay, so explore that a little bit with yourself. This is just to sort of find more or less what we're aiming for. You can start on the high setting, then the medium setting. We also don't want to be too low. So often you'll see people jump all the way and the shoulder's so close to the hand that eventually, if you do this longer term, you'll probably end up straining the fronts of the shoulders or end up with a shoulder injury for going too low. So also be careful of this. If you're male, it's a little bit safer because you usually have a bit more muscle mass. So you'll often see guys might jump back a little bit lower because they have more support, broader shoulders, more musculature around the shoulders to support them. So, okay. So other option we can take a look at. I usually do this with a partner, but right now I don't have a partner and you probably don't either. So we can do this with a wall, but just to get the sensation of what it feels like in the arms, keeping the elbows tucked in, and then finding the right angle for yourself without any weight on your hands. So you can find that angle, you can get the push of your hands. Notice already if you're doing this for yourself, as you start to bring the elbows in, if you're pushing your rib cage forward. If this is happening already in sitting, then in your plank it's probably going to be worse. So we try to really, really pull in here. If I was doing this with another person, then I could stand up and push into the hands so you meet that resistance. Just gives you an idea of the resistance you want with gravity with the floor. But if I don't have another person, I can move myself to the wall. My wall is not quite wide enough, but we'll pretend, okay? So just getting that push, engaging here through the belly, and then I can push. There's no push back, so it doesn't feel quite the same. Or I could do the same in standing. Often we do this in pregnancy yoga. So just getting the sensation of the elbows bent, and then I can step my feet just a little bit back so it brings more weight in, and I can do just a few pushes in and out. So the push back is going to be where you feel what it feels like to rebound against gravity. So we don't just want to sink into the shoulders and the chest, but we want that push back. Not so much that it makes us straighten our arms again, but it keeps us sinking out of the shoulders. Last option that I will give you, just to see, this is all for sort of how deep we want to go in our chaturangas and how to get there. So the last option is with your strap. And I set up my strap. Depending on your strap, we'll set it up a little differently. But making sure that you have a loop that is tight. So my strap has a little lever that moves here, but you can set your strap in any way, but make sure you can still adjust it. So if you're using a scarf, you'll have to find it and tie it. That will be a little more challenging. Okay, so you should have a strap that when you push out, it stays. So you don't have to measure right away, but once I measure, I'm going to take it above the elbows. Okay, so it's above the eye of the elbow line. And then what I'm aiming for the width of the strap, I want to make sure that my elbows can come beside the rib cage. So I need to loosen mine just a little bit. Just a bit. So that when I'm pressing out, okay, then I can pull in and my elbows have a bit of space to each side of my rib cage. So they're not out, they're squeezing in. And then from a half push-up, we're going to just do this in a half push-up rather than a full plank. So you have to be careful that your strap doesn't slide. So you can keep your elbows a little bent, but set up the line of your shoulders. Start with the elbows bent, half plank, and then lower yourself to your strap, and then you can hold there. Okay, so more or less, this is the line of the chest that I would like. And then making sure I'm not really dipping into my strap, I'm pushing back, I'm getting that rebound sensation. I'm gonna tighten my strap just a little bit. So if you want more support, tighten it. You maybe won't have the elbows quite outside, but it will get you more support in the upper body and keep you from bringing your elbows out. So this is what we don't want. We don't want the elbows popping out. So one more time in a half plank. This feels a little better for me. And then I'm lowering down. I don't have to touch my strap, but this is just helping me keep my elbows in. Chest is open. I'm not dipping into my chest or head, but my chest, my collarbones are still open. My glutes are active and my belly is pulling in. And press back up. Okay. This is all very intense work. You might feel a little bit sore in your upper body tomorrow after trying these things, but these are all things that I often do with not beginner, but beginner intermediate students as people start to really find their alignment, or also in a private lesson, you can use these tools just to get people in the correct alignment. Okay. So now let's take a look at, I'm going to give you a couple of things that I do starting to teach Chaturanga to beginners and why I do this. I'll explain what the benefit is. So if I'm starting to teach to beginners and I'm not using my props, I'm not doing those things in the body, then I always, anytime I'm teaching beginner students, I never have them, I never teach or cue to do a full Chaturanga. So plank Chaturanga, unless I'm just saying it, if I know there's some people in the class that are more advanced and they know and they can hear it and they can do it. Otherwise I visually demo a modified version of sun salutations all of the time for a beginner level class. So what I like to do, there's a few things that I like to do. First is just half plank. So trying to get the line of the knees to the top of the head. So not a tabletop, knees a little bit back, knees together in this case, and then I shift a little forward. I'm not sagging here. So something to watch out for, misalignment, is sagging in the belly. That means the bum is not engaged, the belly is not engaged. And then picking up the feet, I'm gonna give you two options. Just have them do 3 push-ups. So you probably did this a really long time ago in your physical education class, middle school, high school, but you don't have to come even halfway down. So encourage people to come as low as they can where the elbows don't pop out. So halfway down, press back up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Press back up. Okay, so that just starts to build upper body strength and they get the sensation of getting more weight into their hands. You will find if you're teaching beginners, depending on the age group and their physical activity level, that will be very hard for them. So it might seem easy if you're doing yoga for a long time just to do 3 push-ups with the knees down. But for people that are not active, that's very challenging. They will try to come as low as they can without keeping that control. So really try just to get them, it's much better for them to lower a few centimeters, a few inches, hold that, and then press back up, because that will slowly guide them into a more stable, aligned position. The other way that you can do is to keep the feet down, or you can keep the feet crossed as we did before, crossed at the ankles, is just to make them lower very slowly. So I like to make people lower and hover if they can. And I aim, I cue, I instruct to try and get the belly and the heart at the same time to the floor. So we'll look at why and what the misalignment is in a moment. But think about that for yourself. If you're coming all the way down to the belly, belly lands and heart lands at the same time on the ground. What that looks like. Okay? Feet can stay down. I breathe in, shift my shoulders forward, half plank. I'm going to lower to a slow count of 5. I stay forward, drishti is at the front of the mat. 4, 3, 2, I can hover just before I land, and then belly, chest together to the floor. This allows me to transition. So if I'm modifying my plank, then I'm going to have to come all the way down any other back bend that I take. Even if I'm coming into upward dog, cobra version, if I'm lowering all the way down to the chest and belly, then even if I'm coming into upward dog, if I'm changing the hand position, then I still need to find that shape on my belly first. So I come all the way down. Okay. So misalignments that we can see, especially in beginner students when they don't yet have enough upper body strength. I'm going to mention a few. So big one is the elbows to the sides and kind of diving the chest forward. So you'll see this, yeah? So the elbows are coming out. They're not going to build strength this way. Eventually they're probably going to feel it in their joints, but it's a little bit easier because you're not controlling your landing. So I can let the elbows come out. I drop the chest to the floor, and then I can adjust my legs in whichever way I choose. So this is one of the common misalignments. The other is, as I mentioned a moment ago, if I'm lowering and trying to keep the elbows in, and I'm trying to keep my plank shape in my spine. So from my hips to the crown of my head, this is stable, this is one line. I have that Tadasana feeling, that mountain pose feeling in my upper body. If I'm in full plank, that's in my whole body. So what you'll often see is the belly flap. So if I can't support myself, I start to come down, it becomes really, really hard, and then I roll from my belly to my chest. So this is why I cue belly and heart at the same time, or even trying to get your heart down first. Okay, but then sometimes that makes people do what I just did. It makes them heart down first, and then their bum is up in the air. So figuring out kind of what's the best language to work with the people that are in your class will take you a little bit of time to figure out. Okay, that's Chaturanga. Let's take a look at the transition, how I would maybe start with a beginner student in terms of how they're lowering, what back bend they're coming into, and how they're getting between all of these shapes into a more intermediate version, into the more ideal Ashtanga version.